Just a brief comment here about chapter 15, which we have just read. I meant to make the comment on this at the time, but we have here verse 30. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet, and wept as he went up, and had his head covered, and he went barefoot. And all the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went up, weeping as they went up. So, we got two things going on here. First, as I mentioned, he does state that he's leaving the city to protect the civilians. He doesn't want a battle in the city. But he doesn't seem to be going in haste. He climbs the mountain barefoot, head covered, weeping. In other words, he is mourning. Now, Jerusalem isn't lost yet. And they did have a number of well-trained soldiers that could defend it. But it seems that David is personally resigned to just say, the Lord has brought this punishment upon me, and I'm going to just accept what the Lord has said. And so Absalom has started this great rebellion. Absalom's still in Hebron. David gets word of it. And David just thinks, well, this is what God said was going to happen. God said that the sword would not leave my family for the rest of my life. And we will just let this play out as God intends it to. He tells the people that they are leaving to prevent a massacre of the civilians in the city. But he himself personally is leaving because he thinks that this is what God expects. This is what God wants. God has planned it, and he is just submitting to the will of God. This is also why he tells the Ithai, the Geshurite, the Gittite, says, your people go back. God's not mad with you. You're okay. He tells Zadok and Abiathar to take the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem because God is not mad at them. God is punishing David, and so David and his family have to leave, not the other people. But they leave mourning. They don't leave in haste. They're not running. The other thing, I said that I thought they were going in a somewhat northeastern direction, and I was a bit wrong there. They're just going east. The Mount of Olives is east of Jerusalem, and the Mount Olivet would be the same as Mount of Olives. The brook Kidron is a brook near the city of Jerusalem in the valley of Kidron, which would be in the same general area of Jerusalem. And so they're just leaving Jerusalem. Crossing the brook Kidron means they left the city proper of Jerusalem and have gone into the wilderness east of Jerusalem, and then they climb the Mount of Olives. And they're kind of regrouping on the Mount of Olives. This is where David worshipped. In other words, this is the high place where David would go to do his personal devotions to God. Even though you had the Ark of the Covenant in Jerusalem, you would have had he says he had a tent set up. Most likely it's the tabernacle, but it could be a different tent built after the same order as the tabernacle. But David's personal devotions were done on the Mount of Olives. And so he goes to where he personally worships God. That's where he goes. So this is just a little extra that I forgot to mention while filming chapter 15. So I wanted to make sure that it was put out there so that we all understood exactly what's happening here. And at this time, I will have to drop in. If you are enjoying my readings and my commentaries here, please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. It all helps with the algorithm, helps get my content out. So if you enjoy it, please help us out there. And I will see you in chapter 16.